guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're not already subscribed to Off the Canvas Boxing, like the video, do all that amazing stuff. Please don't forget, we've got a live stream happening on Friday evening, Friday 9 p.m. The Fight Talk Show will be previewing the Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Williams fight. Okay, so stay tuned for that post notification, guys, so that when I'm live, you get notified. Okay, boom. Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte, a closer look 4K. This is from the Fight Club. Of course, this fight hasn't been officially signed. From Dillian Whyte's side, it's been quite quiet on his end. And I still think there's a bit more twists and turns that may arise in the next couple of weeks. But hopefully this gets all signed, sealed and delivered so that we can watch a great spectacle of heavyweight boxing. So, without further ado, let's get cracking.
The following is a Fight Club presentation.
Let's go, Fight Club.
After years of verbal warfare, the path is finally clear for Tyson Fury and Whyte to squash their beef in a highly billed domestic grudge match this year. Fortunately for Whyte, who previously spent over 1,000 days as the WBC's #1 ranked contender before...
Sorry, it's longer than that. We're looking at maybe 1,100, maybe 1,200, something like that. It's longer than 1,000 days.
He was brutally knocked out by Alexander Povetkin 2 years ago. Suleiman finally ordered Fury, the WBC champ, to face his mandatory challenger. The Brixton man's sights are therefore now set on his first ever world title tilt, and a showdown with Fury, which is several years in the making.
I'm the can man. Whoever won it can get it. Doesn't want it, he can get it, but he don't want it.
The bitter rivals and former sparring partners have exchanged numerous unpleasantries since the Gypsy King made his famous boxing comeback 3 years ago, with a host of insults on social media, sparking demand for a meeting between them.
Dillian Whyte's a bitch, and when I see you, you've got to fight me anyway. He keeps going on about fighting this and calling me a coward and whatever. Let's see who's a coward. Let's see who's a coward.
After being labeled embarrassing by Whyte ahead of...
I think it's safe to say that Dillian Whyte has got under Tyson Fury's skin. I've never seen him react that way to any boxer. So I think Dillian Whyte really gropes Fury. And I'm here for it, man.
His clash with Wilder in 2018, Fury hit back by writing on social media,
"Let me show you how to create an amazing ad using stock footage. Go to artgrid.io. Look at..."
Say, bro. I know you're doing your own plan.
That it could have been Whyte facing Wilder had Whyte not been afraid to face the Bronze Bomber.
Oh,
Ironic.
Shut up, blood. Nah, shut up, blood. Nah, Fight Club, man. Yeah, nah, that was a... Listen, you were doing so well, man. You were doing so well. I reacted to bare of your videos. But, like, factually, that's incorrect, man. Dillian Whyte. Firstly, the Bronze Bomber throws out Dillian Whyte. I sent him a what's it called, an Instagram message saying that I'm going to freeze out for the next couple of years. And pretty much that's what happened. That's what they did. Him, including the WBC. That's all what they've done together. So the fact that you're saying that Dillian Whyte, couldn't step up to Deontay Wilder, let's speak facts, okay? Sorry, I'm a bit more riled up.
How different the heavyweight picture would look today if a then 40-0 with 39 KOs Deontay Wilder had let sleeping dogs lie. It wasn't long after an early March night in 2018 when Wilder had just disposed of an undefeated Luis Ortiz that he was seeking his next challenge, a super fight with Anthony Joshua. There are many different versions of the story as to why that blockbuster fight never transpired,
No, there isn't. It's very simple. It's a simple story, but different perspectives of pretty much the same story. So, for those of you guys who don't know, let me fill you guys in. That fight was rumored to take place, and a lot of people were chatting about it, but no official bids or no official contact has been made between Team Joshua and Team Wilder. Boom. Yeah. Apparently, a number floated across across the media, and they said apparently that the fight, they're gonna apparently offer around £50 million, or $50 million and £50 million, something along those lines. That for Anthony Joshua to fly over to the US and take that fight. They offered it. No. First, before they offered it, Anthony Joshua said, "Nah, you know what? If they, if they give me £50 million for that fight, I'll sign a deal tomorrow." Bad mistake, because when it comes to contracts here, they can offer you $50 million, but to be fair, you don't know if there's a site fee involved for an extra $200 million, and you only get a quarter of that. You don't know if you don't know the terms of that. You don't know if they ask you to, okay, it's $50 million, but at the same time, you're gonna have to tie your hands behind your back throughout the fight, and you can't box with your hand. You can head movement and stuff like that. But, you have to be like that, and apart from that, you can't do anything else. And you have to hop on one leg. So anyway, they offered it. Team AG or Anthony Joshua, Team AG, I think Eddie Hearn turned around and said, okay. And this is from Deontay Wilder's personal email or personal Instagram, one of those two. Said, "I'll offer you the fight." He said, "All right, cool. We're interested. Please send over the contract." Team Wilder turned around and said, "No, we're not going to send over the contract. We want you to publicly accept the fight before we send over the contract." Eddie Hearn turned around and said, "No, we're not going to do that, because mad stuff could be in those contracts here. Guys, until you read the small print, don't agree to anything, because sometimes it can be some bad stuff within the contract, yeah." And also, it came from Deontay Wilder's Twitter account. A personal email address, or regardless, right? And Deontay Wilder at the time was earning anywhere between 1 to 2 million, maybe even 3 million per fight, and AJ was earning 15 million plus. So of course, Eddie Hearn turned around and said, "Okay, you as a fighter who's earning less money than my fighter, a considerably less than what we're earning, please provide proof of funds that you've got the money to facilitate this." They said no. Eddie Hearn turned around and said, "All right, cool, let me just schedule a meeting." Took the piss out of Shirley Winkle, called him Shelly Winkle. And then, after that, all of a sudden, Team Wilder decided they didn't want to engage in any form of meetings, contact, anything along those lines. They didn't agree to schedule any meetings with them. And then they had another opportunity to sign for that fight after DAZN put in $100 million for that fight, and for a free fight deal for those. That was going to be DAZN. Sorry, it's going to be Dominic Brazil, and it's going to be AJ 2 fights. So it's a 3-fight deal for $100 million or £100 million, something like that. And they declined due to loyalty with Showtime Boxing. So take it as you would do.
Depending on who is telling the tale, but that's neither here nor there. The match was dead in the water, and the Bronze Bomber needed a big-name opponent to keep momentum going. Tyson Fury was sitting on the sidelines 2.5 years removed from his last fight and defining career victory over Vladimir Klitschko. After that November 2015 upset win, the pair were set to have a rematch when an overweight Tyson Fury showed up to the press conference to promote the fight, looking like anything but a heavyweight champion.
Fat man, that's who beat you. Shame on you, my friend.
Shame on me.
Shame on you. You let Fat Man beat you.
Not long after that, Fury would pull out of the rematch altogether and vacate his titles, seemingly finished with the sport. When Fury dethroned Klitschko in November of 2015, he weighed 247 pounds. Fast forward to early 2018, Fury had ballooned to 400 pounds. Along the way, substance abuse in the forms of alcohol and cocaine took over Fury's life as clinical depression had set in. He was in a bad place. With the likeliness of a Joshua fight looking scarce, Wilder and Fury began discussing a potential fight privately. For the man known as the Gypsy King, the lure of a fight with Wilder would provide the self-motivation to get his life back in order. In turn, Wilder would have an undefeated challenger with claim to the lineal heavyweight championship, who brought name recognition to the table.
You know where I am, you know what time, you know what place. I ain't scared of nobody. I'll come in your backyard, baby, for that, my man. I promise you that.
Anytime,
when you up in the ring with a real fighter, when you in for a real fighter, that's what it's all about, man.
Squad, no bother. Listen, anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll fight you in your back garden. Like a dumb Klitschko, I'll beat you, you bum.
All Fury had to do was win a couple of tune-up fights, in which he would knock off the 2.5 years of ring rust while hopefully fueling public interest. Fury would return to the ring on June 9th of 2018 against a 23-1 Albanian named Sefer Seferi. After 3 rounds of more showboating than fighting, Fury decided to let his hands go and stepped on the gas in round 4.
And I think it's all over. It is. He's been pulled out by his corner. Seferi has had enough.
2 months later, the Gypsy King was right back in the ring, easily outpointing Francesco Pianetta over 10 one-sided, yet uneventful rounds. No sooner had the decision been announced did Wilder enter the ring for a face-off and back-and-forth verbal sparring session with Fury to help promote the fight, which would be taking place in December of that year. Conventional wisdom amongst boxing fans, as well as just about all pundits involved in the sport, was that Tyson Fury was cashing out. He would receive a big payday, and in turn, his name and undefeated record would end up on Wilder's victory column, while the champion headlined his first pay-per-view. Surely, a man that had been dealing with severe alcohol, drug, depression, and weight issues, only to come back and get a couple of easy wins over nondescript opponents back home in the UK, was nowhere near ready for the active knockout artist, the Bronze Bomber. After 3 drama-filled bouts, which started off with Fury Wilder 1 being a dubious draw that many felt the Gypsy King won, Tyson would walk away with 2 emphatic knockout victories over Wilder, with the final bout of the trilogy being the 33-year-old's first defense of a title. He'll now have to do it again against someone he considered a close friend of his before their relationship turned sour. In fact, Whyte has twice been drafted in to act as Fury's sparring partner. The Brixton Banger joined the Gypsy King's camp first in Manchester 9 years ago, ahead of the latter's 5-round win over Martin Rogan in 2012. He then joined Fury again a year later for Fury's doomed scrap with David Haye. While Fury maintains that Whyte was easy work, Dillian states that not only did he get the better of the sparring, but he even knocked down Fury a couple of times.
Tyson's hardcore, long range. Some days he may outbox you here and there, but I've definitely laid him up before. Definitely put him in bottom before.
Regardless, given they have both displayed vulnerability in recent outings, and neither man is one for mincing their words, Fury and Whyte's clash is likely to provide fireworks both inside and outside the ring.
Tyson Fury just I think he's a bit of a media, he needs something on his feet about him. I think he's just an egotistic maniac.
And while Whyte will look to force Fury into a shootout, the body snatcher is also susceptible to being knocked out. The 33-year-old was sparked cold by Povetkin, put over by Oscar Rivas, and seconds away from being stopped in the final round of his dramatic win against Joseph Parker.
He's got to give him a chance. Parker! Oh, no! To the end! Is he going to... He needs one more punch! It's not, he survived! He survived! He survived this round! He survived! He has!
He also picked up a highly controversial victory over Derek Chisora back in 2016, having been wiped out by arch-nemesis Joshua the previous year. Of course, Whyte...
Bruv, listen, bruv, like, you lot are not painting Dillian Whyte in any good picture, you know. I just clocked it, you know. Like, all I'm seeing is just Dillian Whyte reels of him getting knocked down. Like, come on, man. Like, what about the knockdown that he done against Joseph Parker? What about the knockout he got against Alexander Povetkin the second fight? What about the 2 knockdowns in the first fight? How about you showed Lucas Brown, Bob. How about the Dave Allen fight? A little bit, you know, a few snippets of that fight as well. Like, yeah, man, what's going on, guys?
Has improved since then. He's wiped out Chisora in their rematch back in 2018 and avenged his loss to Povetkin in his last fight by a punishing 4th round TKO.
Right on the button,
Whatever the outcome, Fury versus Whyte should prove entertaining from the first press conference up until the final bell.
Listen, guys, I can't wait, man. This fight is a fight that I cannot wait to see, okay? Hopefully Dillian wins. I'm backing Dillian 110%, okay? Do I think he's going to win? I'm hopeful, but yeah, Tyson Fury is a monster. But thank you for watching this video. Like it on the way out. See you guys on Friday. Peace and prosperity. And we'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace.